All right. Hey everyone. So my name's Manola, and this is.
Bradley.
You can use your government name.
No, I'm not gonna use my government name. Bradley God, like everybody knows who I am.
Oh, okay.
A percentage of people, at least.
So, we're here today so we can talk about my experience in Japan because it was horrible.
Or so she says.
No, it was horrible. So, just real quick. So, I felt a little bit disillusioned when I went to Japan last year because it was like all the videos that I watched on YouTube were like, oh, it's so awesome. It's like a dream come true. It's like the closest thing to heaven. So I had like really high expectations.
As most people would traveling abroad, like you only know what you know here in America rather than going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Especially, I feel like a lot of people in our generation who grew up on like anime and stuff, we probably put Japan on like a pedestal, like a really high pedestal for like what we think is what it's going to be like.
Mhm. Mhm. It wasn't like that. Well, some of it, but not all of it.
Mm.
So I went into Japan last year in August, and I went for a whole month. And the second day that I got there, like I had terrible stomach flu. I
Mm.
went to this. I went to one of the popular Japanese ramen shops. I think it's called Ichiran.
Mm.
It's not. Ichiraku is from Naruto, but
Close. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ichiraku from Naruto is probably based off of this ramen shop in
yeah,
real life.
yeah. I think it was Ichiran. So I got like some kind of pork ramen, and then I went back to my hostel, and then 2 hours later I was throwing up,
Mm,
and it was horrible, and I can't eat ramen anymore after that.
I can, even though she told me the story, but I mean, it could be. And there's just like when you're going anywhere, there's gonna be a giant, not necessarily cultural thing, but I know whenever you're on a plane going to certain places, you usually gotta get shots and stuff before you go into different countries. Just for there may be something there that you normally aren't immune to that you want to either build up an immunity or they got to give you a shot so you're at least
Yeah.
fine. So do you think that maybe was a side effect of you going to another country after being like in a plane for so long and then touching down and trying something different?
I don't know if it was because I was in the plane for so long. It was I think, a 17-hour flight.
Mm.
But I do think I did get traveler's diarrhea. That's what they usually call it.
Oh, that's okay. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. When you go to a different country, you're not used to the bacteria there.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's a little bit of what happened
It's
to
just
me.
like going to a convention and I don't know what they call it. It's called like con scum or I
What
can't.
is?
I don't know. Somebody mentioned that the other day. Like whenever you go, whenever you go to like a big convention, you're like brushing past like hundreds of people. So eventually, like you could get sick just because you're going through so or you're passing by so many different people in an enclosed space at conventions and stuff, and over a brief period of time, you're gonna end up getting sick by the end of that weekend.
I could see that. It's
Yeah,
like going to school, and when one kid is sick, everyone gets sick.
and everybody dies.
Unfortunately.
But you lived, so
So, um, so that was like my introduction to Japan. My second day, I got super sick, and I didn't leave my hostel for I think the next day because I was so sick, and I could tell I was getting dehydrated, but I was so weak from the dehydration. I was like, I can't even like leave to go like get like water or anything.
hmm.
And I just had to like summon the will of Jesus to make me go and walk to 7-Eleven to get Pocari Sweat.
Hmm.
Do you know what Pocari Sweat
It's
is?
disgusting. I've had Pocari Sweat a few, probably once or twice, because there used to be a store in Winter Park Village called Uberbot, and they closed probably like around 2010. But they used to have like comic books and a lot of different exotic stuff, like that ramen you have over there. They used to have that, and they did sell Pocari Sweat, and I do remember tasting it, and it literally, I don't know why they would sell sweat. It's not literally sweat,
Yeah.
but it tastes like sweat, isn't
Okay.
it?
It's like sweet sweat. Because it's a tad bit sweet.
Or the sweet sweat that I have had. But is it like is it kind of like Gatorade where it's like electrolytes and has a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Okay, so that's the
Exactly.
function of it.
Yeah, so that's why I got it. And it helped. So being there a month, these are the things like right away I can tell you that I did not like.
Let's go down the list.
It's super crowded, like ridiculously crowded. Like I've seen the videos of like people getting like shoved into trains, but I thought those were like.
I'm sorry, it's just the way you said like the shoved in the trains, like they're pushing them on the tracks and then that's it. But
it happens. It's like legit.
Mm.
And then and then like I didn't realize that, like I was like, man, like it's super crowded in Tokyo. I wonder how many people live in this city, and it's like 10 million people living in Tokyo.
And Tokyo's probably, I've never been to New York.
Yeah, to compare, like New York has 9 million people living there.
Okay.
In New York City.
So I haven't really done any research, but like, would you say, if you have, like, is Tokyo, say, equivalent to the size of like New York, like Manhattan area? Okay, so comparable size and comparable
cost of
population.
Living. Yeah, and population. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like really distressing because I hate crowds, which is like why I don't really go to concerts or like big events, because I just hate being in crowded places.
So question in regards to the crowds. So say, because I know when there's like a lot of people, there's a place for disarray. Would you say, from what you do know or research, like pickpocketing, is like pickpocketing like a big thing?
I feel like it could happen for sure. I know like groping in crowded trains is like a big issue. So like in rush hour in Japan, like they have specific hours where it's women only on the trains.
Really?
Yeah, because like groping is a big problem there. Yeah.
That is ridiculous. So what would be like the women's hours for like train?
7:30 to 8:30.
And that's once a day?
Yeah.
So we only get an hour to ride on the train safely. That's ridiculous. And terrifying. So, do you know like when they enacted that? Like when it had to get to like such a point where they had to like enact a happy hour for women to like go on the train to like not be harassed?
I'm not sure when it started, but I can understand why.
I'm about to go home and research this because I've heard of that before, like the groping and everything. Because of course the trains are overcrowded as well. So who did it?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's like 80 people like within breathing space of you. So that is definitely. So outside of the trains, did you experience anything like that? Like while you were just around town in Tokyo, like in the city, or?
Yeah, people did touch me quite a few times. And then my first night coming into Tokyo, like the guy seemed friendly at first, so he like just saw me, he's like, oh, like you're so beautiful, and he's trying to talk to me, and I'm like talking to him, and then all of a sudden he starts touching me.
Was this in English? So did the conversation start in English or Japanese?
It was, his English was very broken, so, and then my Japanese was very broken, so we're
so
just
like meet you halfway.
Yeah, kind of a thing. And then like he was just like, your friend, me, you, and then I was like, oh, you want to be friends? Sure. So we exchanged lines, and like then he's like starts touching me, and I'm like,
sir, this is neither the time nor the place.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go, and I never spoke to him again.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was really creepy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. So, which brings me to my next point, is that everything's super tiny. Like the average apartment in Japan is like 400 square feet. And like I was staying at an Airbnb where the shower was literally the size of a coffin, and I'm like in the in the shower, like you can't even, like, there's like
no elbow room.
No.
Generally, because I know most people, or the assumed average Japanese person is like, what's the average height? Like 5?
My guess would be 5'5".
5'5"? Okay.
Yeah.
And not really too many. I haven't seen, because I remember I watched a video not too long ago by this channel on YouTube called What I've Learned, and I think the guy, he lives in Japan, and one of the subjects of the video was like how you're not gonna really run into too many obese Japanese people because of their like diet and everything. So for their showers to be as tiny and coffin like as they are, it makes sense. And I don't know, I'm about to get a study started on like the average bath time of like a Japanese person because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to spend like too much time in there taking a shower and stuff.
Well, they do have a big bath culture there,
Mm.
like, because they have bathhouses where people just go just to like relax, you know, the onsen.
Mm-hmm.
So, for them, I feel like they do enjoy it, but in the homes, super tiny. So I guess that's why maybe like the onsens are really popular because then you can really like enjoy like
It's kind of like
yeah.
what is it? Not like a trip, but like a treat.
Yeah,
Treat.
exactly.
Go to the bathhouse.
Like a spa day.
Did you go to any of the bathhouses while you were there?
Yeah, I did.
How was it?
It was okay. Yeah. Surprisingly, no one bothered me there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have those separated by like male and female
Yeah.
size too. Okay, that's cool. So was it like how we see in anime where it's like separated by like a big bamboo wall and really? Was it inside or outside?
Some of it was outside, some of it's inside.
That's cool.
And the one I went to was near Mount Fuji. So there were like 9 different kinds of like onsens. There's like one with fits in them, like I guess Epsom salts.
Oh,
So it's like fizzy.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then there was one that's like cold, hot, sauna. Yeah, they had like 9 different kinds in there.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that, I will say, out of that crappy month, Mount Fuji was like the best part of my.
highlight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did the onsen, I did all the weeaboo things there. Well, some of them, but yeah.
Okay.
So, another like gripe about Japan is that they allow indoor smoking in the restaurants.
Nah. Okay, so it was mostly in the restaurants then.
Yeah.
What is it the same for? Because, well, you had an Airbnb, so a hotel can't really.
You know, I did stay in a hotel, but I don't know if it said like no smoking allowed in the hotels. But I know in the restaurants, for like I would be in a cafe and there would be someone next to me like smoking a cigarette.
That's gross.
Yeah, and like I have a really sensitive stomach, so it's like the minute I would smell a cigarette, like I couldn't eat whatever I was eating.
That's probably another reason why when you were getting ramen that one time, or when you first got there, do you remember if there was anybody smoking in the restaurant?
No, I don't think there was anyone smoking. So.
It's very hard to stomach just because I don't like the smell of cigarette smoke at all. So.
Yeah.
That's a big no.
That was rough.
And I'm pretty sure that's something that, like, did you know that prior to going there that was a thing? The indoor smoking, so, And
it's just super surprising because it's like, I think of Japan as like a progressive country, and you would think like they wouldn't want people to smoke indoors.
At all, really.
Yeah, so that was really disappointing. And then another big challenge with Japan is that it's not handicap friendly. Like when you're like going through, because their train subway system is very complex. Like they're like a lot of train stations can have like 4 different exits: north exit, south exit, and then like, you know, some of the exits don't have elevators because like most of their trains are underground.
Okay.
So if it's underground and you have luggage, you have to carry the luggage down the stairs. Like I remember one like terrible day, I like got so frustrated because I couldn't find an elevator, and then I went to the teller and I'm like, elevator? And he's like, we don't have one. So I just had to like carry my luggage over my head and like just fly down like 3 different flights of stairs. That was super annoying, and I was sick.
Yeah,
so I was
that's
just
not
like
convenient at all. So, and would you say this older station, well, was it an older train station?
No, because this was in like Shibuya when I remembered this happening. So it seemed like renovated, but I don't know. And Japan does kind of have a history of that, like not being very tolerant of like people who can't keep up. It's kind of like kind of like, well, you know, either you can or you can't type of mentality.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Well, they also have smokers, so. I mean, it could be, you know, we got indoor smoking, you go work it off by, I mean, but that's your lungs though, so I don't know what kind of trade-off you get there walking down these stairs.
Yeah.
Get winded, roll down them and die.
Yeah. So, and then another thing I didn't like is they have a very complicated trash recycling system.
Yeah, I kept reading that on the list, but like, so Educate me.
So, and like I watched this video where Japanese people are very frustrated with foreigners when they come there, and I'm sure my host was frustrated with me because I was just like, I don't understand where what goes where, because so from what I remember, you have combustible,
Okay.
non-combustible,
All right.
like food, paper, plastic, and then bottle caps.
Combustible, non-combustible, food, paper, plastic, bottle caps.
Yeah.
If anybody's played Fallout, bottle caps for the apocalypse. But so combustible would be like paper.
That's the thing, but then there's like a thing for paper.
So okay. Do you know like what? So what all falls under combustible?
It was like a certain type of plastic.
Okay.
And then there were other plastics that are non-combustible.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say. So what all? Okay, so certain kinds of plastic, not this plastic. Do they have these like say on disposable or perishable goods? Do they have this labeled on like the thing where it'll tell you what category it needs to be recycled into?
Yeah, it says it at the bottom of the whatever it is.
Okay. Is it like easy to see? Like
kinda. I just hate spending the extra 2 seconds to check. Oh, okay, which category does this go in so I can know? I don't know. I just was.
That's understandable because I know us here, like most people don't necessarily recycle normally, and we only have like 2-bin system.
Exactly.
So it's just like you got trash and then recycling.
Yeah.
But I understand there are things quite a bit different.
Yeah, and then there was like only certain days of the week that they pick up those things. And then when you have large items, it's like a fee to throw it away. Because unfortunately, my suitcase broke my first day in Japan. Like the wheel popped off. So I had to get a new suitcase. And I was asking my host, I was like, hey, like, where can I throw this out? I don't know which bin this goes in. She's like, oh, no, that's a special fee. That's going to be $6. I'm like, to throw?
Because they don't have, so I'm going to assume they don't have garbage trucks like we do.
No.
No? Okay, that makes sense.
No,
so I guess once you throw it out,
you have to, because if you were to throw it out in like the wrong bin, you're going to get charged an extra fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
They take it super seriously.
They don't play, I guess.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess that's good. They're probably not going to have like a trash problem in the future like we or China are.
I mean, they may have a trash problem if our trash ball ever makes its way over there.
Maybe.
It's in the middle of the Pacific, so
yeah,
they don't want to contribute, which makes sense.
Yeah. I guess I can't really knock them too hard for that. Anyway, so
as long as you weren't littering.
I promise I'm not a litter. I promise.
Because everybody hates litterers.
Exactly. So, the next thing I didn't really like in Japan, some of the bathrooms don't have soap or toilet paper.
That's a big no for me. I would need both of those things. I mean, I feel like it's something like we're used to here, despite the fact that like most Americans don't use those things. So a lot of y'all, if y'all did go to Japan, y'all be fine because you don't have to wash your hands or use paper. So a lot of people would be fine with that because I've encountered that in our like men's bathrooms. They'll go and then right out. But
that's disturbing.
But so, and like you were telling me earlier, the same thing. Like say, even in homes, like you were 90% of the places that you frequented while you were in Japan didn't have either of these amenities for you.
Not in the homes, in the public.
Okay.
Yeah, public, not home.
Okay, that's right. Well, yeah, homes make sense because you're in your house. But okay, so in most of the 90% of the public places that you did go to, they didn't have either soap or paper, toilet paper. And that's what the paper that we're referring to. When you dried your hands, did they have like the blowers or like blow dryer?
Some did, some of them.
Okay, but mostly just no soap or.
I don't get that. Like, that's super unsanitary. At least have soap.
So that means at least everybody should be running around with a fanny pack, like with 2 of those things in it,
basically,
just so you always have it on hand.
Because like when I would come out of the restroom, I noticed that like moms would pull out their purse and they get their like wipes out and So I guess they just have this culture over there where you carry your own stuff.
On one hand, that's not a bad idea, just due to the simple fact that there are places here where you'll run into like the bathrooms is super unsanitary. And did you ever run into that while you were there, like unsanitary bathrooms in any of the businesses?
No,
No?
no.
Huh. Well, that might be another part of it because I know, of course, over here, like you have gas stations, um, convenience stores, things of that nature, where like the bathroom may not be up to par, and they don't have soap. They'll have paper, won't have soap.
That's
Sometimes
true.
vice versa.
That's true.
So it make to that degree, I would say it makes sense. Like for us, if you are, especially like if you're traveling, to have these things with you, just so like, all right, cool. I know their bathroom may not have what I need. At least I already have it. I ain't got to disturb. I don't have to disturb the people that work here
Yeah.
getting it, and I can go on about my business, covert. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's social norm over there.
Yeah.
That would be strike. I mean, but that is striking, like to us, because we usually have like paper towels, and toilet paper and soap like on deck whenever we do go to the bathrooms, because not trying to get sick.
Exactly. Which is like again, I think that's another reason why I was like so sick over there. People, because I don't know.
Did they have a lot of hand sanitizer?
I didn't see hand sanitizer over there.
Hmm.
Sorry, I should have said I didn't see hand sanitizer over there, so a little bit put off by that. A little bit, because I feel like that should be a standard in all public restrooms to have toilet paper and soap.
Yeah, especially for emergencies, because
Yeah.
when it gets crazy.
So, another thing I didn't like about Japan, which I mean, I guess I should have anticipated this, but again, like most of the videos that I was watching on YouTube were saying like how like when it comes to food in Japan, it's very inexpensive, which technically is true, but their portion size are very small. So yeah, I can go to like a restaurant and pay like $8 for like a meal, but their like portion sizes are very small.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that too.
So
Where they don't, yeah, I guess they don't, as opposed to like our food, which is very like heavy usually, because like say the small dishes will be healthier. I guess that's why their portions are like much smaller, and it's not as like calorie intensive. So a lot of their stuff. So say like what were like some of the meals that you got like from convenience stores and things?
Well, their 7-Eleven is lit. Like you can find anything in their 7-Eleven, which is cool. And you can like make like a decent meal. Well, get a decent meal from 7-Eleven and bring it home. But again, like you pay like $5 or $6, but I guarantee you're gonna get hungry later, like maybe 2 or 3 hours later, because the portion sizes are so small. Like, and I even went like to an Italian restaurant there, and Italian food is known for being like big helpings.
Yeah, big portions.
Yeah, or at least maybe
everywhere else.
Yeah, maybe that's just an American thing that I'm used to.
Because I can't say because I've never been to Europe, but I would think because the pizza, like actual pizza from like Italy, usually isn't like super big, but and of course like the way it's made is a lot different. So yeah, that could be a cultural thing as well, because they don't necessarily like scarf down a lot of food like we do, eat until like you're about to burst.
Yeah.
And stuff. Quiet stomach. So yeah, I can see that a lot of smaller portions for like what they do intake.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like if you're from America and you go to Japan and you're like, you like a decent sized meal, you're gonna be spending like more money than you thought, because like you're I don't know, for me, like I just wasn't like satisfied after eating at a Japanese restaurant. Like I like have to go and get like a snack like 2 hours later from somewhere. So there was that, and clothes, like people also go to Japan for the fashion, but I only bought like one article of clothing.
Yeah, those pants.
Yeah, my parachute pants.
I love those pants.
But those are $50.
Makes sense, because I feel like if they did sell them here, they probably would be the same price, if not a little bit more for them. I've never been to Uniqlo out at Disney Springs, but I know they carry like a lot of Japanese apparel and things of that nature out there, which I want to go soon. But
It's nice. It's nice, but it's not expensive. Like, I think like the average cost of their jeans there is $35. It's like an Old Navy.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes about out at Uniqlo. Okay, I thought you was like in Japan. That's how much do the jeans cost? Like $35?
At Uniqlo, but every other store that I went to in Japan, no, like everything was really expensive. Yeah,
So outside, so say like a general shirt, like a V-neck.
it's gonna be at least $15. I feel like.
That's a little bit more than like what? Because I think for us, generally, like if you go to H&M, it'll be about 10.
Which they do have an H&M over there, and it was reasonably priced,
Okay.
but it was like the same stuff.
Yeah, that we find over here.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I'm not going to New York to eat Sbarro pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So, oh, and then my suitcase. So this was really aggravating. So when my suitcase popped, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a new suitcase because I was like dragging it across the street and it eventually kind of like tore a hole in the suitcase. So then I asked one of my pen pals, I was like, hey, can you tell me like what discount stores can I go to get a new suitcase? So he takes me to Don Quixote, and like they have like those like it was more like a small roller backpack, and it was like $100. I'm like, no.
And it was smaller than the suitcase that you had before, right?
Yeah, I'm like, and I paid $40 for the big suitcase that I brought, and I was like,
Whack.
no, I need like a legit suitcase. So I like looked at several stores, and the one that I found that would like I felt confident would fit everything I had was $150.
And
So-
this was at like the discount store that you were at?
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely if you are going to Japan, take bread with you.
Yeah, you're gonna need some bread.
Quite a bit of dough.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, like I asked him, I was like, you know, in America we have a Walmart, we have, you know, Marshalls, Ross. You guys don't have like this, like where you can find things super cheap? And he was like, no.
I wonder if, because I'm thinking about the packing situation for them as well. Like, when they do go somewhere, do you think like they Tetris everything in the, like their luggage and stuff? Because generally, were most of the luggage that you were finding, like the $40 one or the $100 one, were they mostly of that size where it was like backpack size?
It was like a backpack size. Yeah.
So it could be like their portions for like how they, whenever they travel, could be a lot different, smaller too.
Maybe. It's right there, the one that I paid $150 for.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
I mean, it's a nice suitcase, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't have paid $150 for it.
Yeah, most definitely. 'Cause you can find something like this at what do you call it? At Ross.
Yeah,
For probably like $30-$40.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel that pain.
Yeah, so I had to take that L. And Uber, please don't ride Uber in Japan if you don't have to. I had to, unfortunately, because there'd be times where I would miss the last train and I'd have to order Uber. The train stopped running at midnight. And then or one time I was just too sick to take the train and I just didn't want to deal with bullshit, so I called an Uber quite a bit, several times. I think I racked up at least $500 in
Credits.
for Uber.
Oh, while you were there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like to give you some perspective, just to go 2 miles in an Uber in Japan is $40.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I would say probably because they are a culture that like walks a lot. They do a lot of walking there. I guess that makes sense for it to be. Because I know going from my house to the Honda dealership, which is well over at least 10 miles, was probably like $20. Somewhere within that range.
Same.
To and fro.
Same.
So, if on that end, it does make sense because I know here a lot of stuff is spread, especially in Florida. I wouldn't say things are like supremely stretched out because I know there are parts of Tennessee that I've been to where you have to go miles to actually get to where like civilization is.
Hmm.
But for them as a culture of people that does walk a lot, yeah, that's a lot of money for like a very short distance. But most people are probably willing to,
Walk the 2 miles.
yeah, I'm walking every day. That could also be why they're so thin.
Yeah, I think it's because they walk a lot.
Mm,
I don't really think it has too much to do with the diet.
yeah.
Yeah, rip.
But well, at least you know you're gonna be when you do go. Get ready to get your walks in, your steps in.
Yes, please wear comfortable shoes if you're going to Tokyo. Like you have to do a lot of walking. Like don't try to be cute while you're there. Just don't do it.
Unless somebody's carrying you.
Yeah. So next thing is Tokyo's nasty.
Which I would never suspect from the stock photos and stock videos that we basically get of people like crisscrossing through the streets.
Like when I hear, like, I've heard so many times people are like, oh, Japan is so clean and it's so like beautiful, and which it is beautiful, but there are parts of it that are nasty. Like coming off the subway, like you can smell pee and like or
Delicious.
urine. Like you see trash on the streets, especially like around Shibuya or Shinjuku. And there were like, homeless people, which I'm not ripping on the homeless people, but I'm just saying like you could see homeless people like hanging out and like just perched, in various places.
That's weird because how you were explaining the what is it, the like trash system? Do they actively have people out like picking up trash during this time, or is just out there?
It's just there. I'd never saw. I'm sure they have some sort of street cleaning system, but the fact that I was able to see trash, and I was there a month, so it's not like I happened to come on the day that it was right before trash cleaning day. Like I consistently saw areas where I was just like, this looks like New York City. Like
Uh,
this is,
Similar metropolitan area.
yeah.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Hope y'all like trash.
Another thing, their subway is a little complicated. Like having Google Maps does help, but don't make the same mistake I did and assume that like the subways run in a circle. Cause like there was one time I was taking the train somewhere and I wasn't paying attention and I missed my last stop. So then I was like, oh well, I don't feel like getting off of the train and trying to like navigate a new way to get to Shinokubo, K-Town.
Mm.
So I was like, I'll just stay on here and like,
He'll
let
come
it,
around again.
yeah, like let it route me back to Shinokubo. And I ended up in Chinatown, which is like an hour and a half from Tokyo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I've never been on a train before,
Hmm.
so I can understand how I've been on a bus, which is basically like street train. But like an experience like that would like make me really mad to like miss my spot and then have to, because once you got to Shinokubo, or no, Yokohama, it's Yokohama, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yokohama.
so once you got there, what time was it? Like around the time that the trains were like closing for the evening,
No, it
or?
was still early in the day, and then I was like, I really wanted to go to K-Town, but I'm in Chinatown.
Hmm.
And I wanted to check it out anyway, so I was like, I just readjusted my plans and just hung out in Chinatown that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, but just, saying like, pay attention when you're on the train because it doesn't work like bus routes here where it's just gonna loop back around in the same route. I don't know how it works, but
Mm.
because if I would have stayed on the train, I probably would have ended up like somewhere way farther away from Tokyo.
Mm.
So, and then like I don't know, there were like other things like I was saying like how a train station could have multiple exit like north and south
Hmm.
and east exits and um like you have to like and then there are like a lot of rules when you're like going into the train station that you have to pay attention to like over there everybody has to stand on the right.
Hmm.
I think you've probably seen a video of it like with like how things work in Japan. Like when you're going to the train, like, and you're on the walkways and especially on the stairs, you're expected to stand on the right, unless you're in, not Okinawa, Kyoto, and there's the other city next to Kyoto. It starts with an O. Osaka. It's on the left.
Okay.
So
there's like designated standing areas like on the train.
No, not exactly on the train, but like when you're like leaving trains, like you got to try to like move with the herd.
Oh, so you're not gonna get trampled or that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Everybody's squished in there like sardines.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it's a little. I mean, it makes sense. It does, but it just took an adjustment because I don't really pay attention when I'm like walking. I just kind of
go.
Yeah. And so I was bumping into people a lot in the beginning. So yeah. Next thing is Japanese people are fake.
You heard it from Nola's mouth.
They are.
And why would you consider them fake?
So there's this perception that they're really sweet and very respectful and mild-mannered, which they are. However, that just because I've come to learn that just because they're very like welcoming doesn't mean that they necessarily like you. And sometimes it was like tricky for me to see like when someone really like enjoyed my company or when someone was just being polite to me. Because there were times where like I made some pen pals and I'm like, oh cool, like, you know, they said we're gonna meet up, and then like when I got to Tokyo and I told them that I was here, nothing ever happened. Like I want to say I made like at least 8 to 10 pen pals on Hello Talk, and I only got to meet up with 2 of them.
Okay.
And I was there a month, so it's not like
I'm only here for the weekend. Like, nah, you're here for several weekends, and like you have more than enough time because you're there for travel or vacation.
Yeah.
So. Well, maybe it was just the other. What is it? Six out of the.
No, but the thing is, what was misleading about it, they would say like, hey, when you come to Japan, tell me, like, you can stay at my place. Like they would be very like you know, like give you this idea that they want you to be their friend, but then when it came down to it,
well, yeah.
So I was just like, okay. So that was a little bit discouraging.
Well, for the 2 that you did get to hang out with.
That didn't really last that long.
Well, why is that? So did y'all just hang out for like the day and then that was it?
Yeah, I didn't hear from them again. Yeah. Yeah, and the first one that I met up with, like my 3rd day there, like I really would have hoped that like he meant it when he said like, oh, if you need anything, call me, because there were 2 occasions where I really needed someone and he was just like, yeah, I can't help you. That was the night that I didn't have a place to stay.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was rough. So another thing is, you know, being black in Japan, you would think in Tokyo that there'd be enough exposure to foreigners that they'd be used to it by now, but clearly not, because not only did I get stares, but people were touching me.
Oh yeah, that's right, without permission.
Yes.
So.
Like.
Especially when they're touching your hair too.
Yes. Yes.
That's right, because you did at the time. You had
pink braids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I miss those braids.
I do too.
But yeah, I guess like I can't even say. Because I wonder if it's like that in other countries as well, like where would they like ask, or would they just like when they're in like passing and stuff?
They would just straight up come up to me and be like, oh, sugoi, like, which is cool. I'm like, okay, yeah, don't touch me.
All right, cool. So before we do this, I'm gonna need you to hi, how you doing? Shake my hand first. Like, okay, so very comfortability thing. Did you like encounter any racism or anything on your trip while you were over there? Like anybody who was like outwardly like hostile to you or
Not outwardly hostile, but like I said, like you can kind of feel like when someone doesn't necessarily want to be near you,
hmm.
kind of a thing, but nothing hostile.
Okay.
No.
Hmm.
So
Touchy feely.
yeah, and then towards the end of my trip, I just realized I hate Japanese food. It's not for me. I never liked sushi to begin with because it just always tasted funny to me. And I was telling Brad earlier, like fish tastes like soap to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a weird genetic trait that I have, but yeah, like so I never liked sushi. And then after that ramen incident, I can't eat ramen. So every day proved very challenging because I would wake up and I'm like, dang, like what am I gonna eat today that's not gonna hurt my stomach? Because I can't eat Japanese food. So pretty much the whole month that I was there, I was just eating McDonald's and Korean food.
Mm. Ah,
Yeah.
Korea. So they, well, yeah, I would say they'd have a sizable like Korean population there too, not far off.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, they have a Koreatown, so.
Mm-hmm.
But
They have American Town.
they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Did you run into any other Americans there?
No, I didn't. I mean, they called it Americura, something like that, but it didn't really feel American. I don't know why it was called Americura, but there is an American town.
Was that with McDonald's and the Burger King and?
No, well, I didn't see a Burger King there. I did see one Taco Bell, but there's a lot of McDonald's around Tokyo.
Oh yeah, McDonald's is everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure theirs is much healthier than ours.
It felt healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like their chicken katsu burger.
That sounds good. So it just had chicken on it?
And I think like lettuce and mayo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, whenever you say burger, I always think like chicken sandwich, chicken burger.
Sorry. Yeah, it was a chicken sandwich.
That's fine.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Hmm.
Better than our McChicken.
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, that was like the only thing I could really eat there that wasn't gonna hurt my stomach, and that was kind of disappointing.
And would you say besides like the fish, of course for sushi because you're not really a big fan of that, would it you say they because I know you did say you have an allergic or like for like ulcers and things do they use a lot of raw onion in their dishes?
Yeah. So I have to share this story. So one night one of my pen pals invites me out to dinner. So of course he takes me to a Japanese restaurant, and I'm like, I can't tell him I don't like Japanese food. So we're in the restaurant. I'm like, what can I have on this menu that's not gonna hurt my stomach? And I'm like, I'm just gonna eat white rice. That's it. So I order white rice, and they bring it, and it's like tempura sprinkled on top. So I'm like, oh, that should be fine. Tempura is just fried batter. So I'm eating it, and there's onions in it, and I'm like, I should be okay, but I wasn't okay. I was not okay. As soon as I got back to the hostel, my stomach started burning. And then I was like, oh man, like to the point where I was sweating. So then I was like, okay, I'm just going to sleep this off. I went to sleep for 2 hours, and then I woke up and the burning was just like intensified. And then I was like, okay, I gotta get something. So I walked to a pharmacy down the street from the hostel, and they gave me this like traditional Japanese medicine. So I tried it, that didn't work. And then in the morning, my stomach ulcer was still bothering me. So I had to go to another pharmacy. They gave me something else, that didn't work. And then I'm like online trying to see like if I can find like a Japanese equivalent of Pepto-Bismol. Couldn't find anything. After like 3 like tries of different Japanese brand medicines and going to 3 different pharmacies, it's like day 2, and like on a scale of like 1 to 10, like my pain level was like a 10, because like it literally felt like my stomach was on fire and someone stuck a fork in it and twisted it. So I was just like, and during those 2 days, that's when I was mostly taking the Uber. So I'm like, oh god, I'm like spending so much money because it's like I couldn't walk anymore. And then finally, I went to a different pharmacy, and I'm like trying to talk to the pharmacist in as much Japanese that I can, and he's like, "Wakarimasen," and I'm like, "No, he doesn't understand. What am I gonna do?"
Somebody help.
So then this little Japanese lady, she's like, "Excuse me, do you have a problem?" I'm like, "Yes, oh my god. And she's like, "Oh my god, what is it?" So I tell her what's going on, and she's like, "Oh, you better go to the hospital." I'm like, "Oh god." So I went to the hospital, and the first thing I see is, note, when you come to the hospital on the weekend, it's an extra $100 fee. And I'm like, bruh.
That's whack.
What?
That is whack.
It was Sunday. So I'm like standing there and I'm like, can I hold on to this for another day? And I'm like, no, I can't.
Did you figure out why they have an extra $100 fee on the weekend? Is it because they don't have like as many doctors in, or?
Probably.
I'm about to look that up.
But that was annoying. So I was just like, F it. I can't take this pain anymore. I'm just going to pay the extra $100 fee. So I go in there. They find me a doctor that can speak a little bit of English.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling him my signs and symptoms. And then he writes me a script. I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh, it's pain medicine. And I'm like, bruh, I don't need pain medicine. I need an antacid. Yeah. Don't y'all have Nexium,
oh, that's right,
Protonix, Pepcid, like Tums? At least Tums, Pepto-Bismol. And then at one point I was like, Pepto-Bismol. Anything? And then they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh.
Something for like the stomach pain.
God. So I tell him, no, it's okay. I'm just going to go back to America tonight. He's like, because at that point I still had like a week and a half there. He's like, oh, you're going to go back to America? Yes, I'm going to go back to America because I can't deal with this. So, you know, I have to pay him $200 anyway, you know, it was $200, which is still better than here, like going to the emergency room here.
Yeah.
So I pay that, and then I walk out of the hospital, and I just remember thinking, I'm gonna have to be a real nigga today.
Oh my god.
And you know what I did, Brad?
What?
I called the Uber, tell them to take me to the art store. Go to the art store.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did tell me this.
Yes. And I went up and I found pure vine charcoal. And I ate it. Cause do you guys know what Pepto-Bismol is made out of? It's made out of charcoal.
Fun fact.
And that's why they color it pink, because who's going to drink, like, black medicine? Well, okay, you're the exception, but...
I like chocolate ice cream.
Dark ice cream.
Yeah, I'd eat black ice cream if you gave it to me.
Oh, I've heard about that. The charcoal ice cream.
Once I find it, I'm going to eat it.
That actually sounds like it would be
That probably would have
good.
been perfect for you after eating those onions.
Oh, my God. I'm surprised that they didn't have that, though. Maybe they did and I just didn't think of it. But yeah, guys, so I ate charcoal straight out of the box. And it was nasty. But no one ever questioned my art, like my artist.
How you trying to save your life? So did you eat the charcoal like right after you walked out of the store, or?
Yeah, I opened it up and I didn't care who saw me. I was like, I'm in pain, like
survival skills.
Exactly. So and then 2 hours later the pain stopped.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish I would have thought of that 2 hours before instead of paying the doctor $200.
Well, at least you guys know now. If say there are no antacids around, guys, go to the art store, pick up some charcoal.
And then finally, because when I was going through this, I was texting my friend that's a physician assistant. I'm like, bruh, help me. Like, I don't know what to do. And then my friend texted me back, and she was like, good for you about the charcoal and that, you know, it didn't make you projectile vomit. Because it's supposed to, like, when you eat charcoal, it's supposed to, like...
promote.
Yeah, if you eat enough of it, it can like help you like empty out your stomach contents.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but she was like, you could have also gotten baking soda and mixed it in water because it neutralizes acid.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they have baking soda over
They
there?
did, they did.
Oh,
They
well, now
did.
you know for the future.
Well, I'm not going back there.
Well, I mean, as far as like for
Oh,
your stomach,
yeah,
you still
that's-
have your stomach.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, guys, I'm never going back to Japan. Never. There's just no chance.
You guys heard it here first.
So, I talked about the ramen incident and the issue with the stomach ulcer. The last thing I have to talk about is the night I had no place to stay. So, due to certain events that happened, I had to leave my Airbnb that I was staying at, and I went and got a hostel at a place that I was familiar with, and then but I didn't have like Saturday night covered, so so I stayed at the hostel Friday night, and the next day I was like, well, crap, I don't have anywhere to stay Saturday night. So because it was a national holiday in Japan, so I was like, dang, like I was like, well, I'm sure I can stay like at a capsule hotel or something. So I didn't really worry about it too much because I was like, I'll figure it out. So then when night came, like I went to 3 different capsule hotels and they were all booked. And like I'm walking around Shinjuku and it's like 1 a.m. in the morning, and like there's all these characters on the street, and there's like a lot of like African and Jamaican people in Japan for some reason. So there were like a lot of African guys. Like in side note, Shinjuku is like the Brooklyn of Japan. Like Harajuku's the Manhattan, and then Shinjuku's like the Brooklyn. And so it's not really a place that I would tell people that you would want to like. I mean, I never really felt like my life was in danger, but I didn't necessarily feel safe there either when I was walking around Shinjuku late at night. So like there's like a bunch of like Africans on the street on this time, and they're trying to get people to come into the bars and clubs. So they would see me and they'd be like, hey sister, hey foreigner, let me talk to you. And I'm like, nope, I'm trying to go home. Nope, I don't, because like when they pull you into a club or bar, they like try to get you to order drinks and spend your money, and it's just like
I just want to go sleep.
Yeah.
I just want to go sleep. Thanks.
Yeah. So that was like nerve-wracking. And like after like going to the 3rd capsule hotel and being like turned away, I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? So I was like, okay, I need to sit down somewhere and collect myself. So I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh, like there's gotta be 24-hour Korean bathhouses, because like in Korean culture they have 24-hour bathhouses.
Okay.
Yeah, and then inside their bathhouses, they have a restaurant, they have meditation rooms, and they have sleeping areas. So I was like, I can take a shower and then sleep somewhere. So I'm looking this up, and then all of a sudden, I feel this wetness just drop on me. And a guy walking by spat on me.
What the hell?
And I was just like, ah! And then he looks and he's like, oh, sorry. And I was just like, you just spit on me.
Oh my god.
And it was like a lot of spit. And I was just mortified.
Did you fight him?
I wanted to.
Did he like get a towel or something?
He should have. It was a lot of spit.
I'd have been like, sir, I don't know about over here, but over back where I'm from, ass whoopings. Cause getting spit on. That is gross. How do you not look before you spit?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, was he spitting towards like the grass?
No, because it was like, so there's a column here, and I was sitting like in front of the column, and then he was coming from the side, and he just turned his head and spit.
No, bro, you gotta check before you spit. Unruly.
That should be a hashtag. Check before you spit.
And spit in the grass if there's grass available.
Exactly. So he goes inside the capsule hotel, and he comes back out like 5 minutes later, and he like sits next to me, and I'm like,
sir,
what's going on? And he's like, no room. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I was like, what are you gonna do? Sit with you? No. This is not what we're about to do. You just spit on me?
Mm-hmm.
No. So he's trying to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, we're off to a bad
Yeah,
start.
this is not where this is going, buddy.
No. So so while we're talking, then this Napoleon guy comes out of nowhere.
Napoleon?
Yeah.
What's that?
From Nepal?
Oh, Nepalese. Nepalese?
I call him Napoleon.
Napoleon? Because I'm like, Napoleon? Like, is he related to
No.
Napoleon Bonaparte?
Is it Nepalese?
It might be Nepalese.
I'm gonna say Napoleon.
Okay. Neapolitan man.
So
Yeah, ice cream.
he comes and he starts talking to me. He's like, well, actually, he sees us. He goes, hey, it's a party. And I'm like, no.
It's not a party.
No, I'm trying to leave.
Mm.
And then he's like grilling me with all these questions. He's like, where are you from? What are you doing here? Where are you going? And I'm like,
I'm from here. I'm from here. I'm from here. And I live here. My family lives down the street. I have a gun. Get away from me.
pretty much. I was just like, I don't know.
Mm.
And then he got irritated. He's like, why don't you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know
None of your
you.
business.
Exactly. And so I have to mute this real quick.
Oh, that's right, because it does do it for the computer too.
So basically, finally my Uber gets there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, that's my ride. See ya. And he's like, oh, is this taking you to your hotel? I'm like, yep. Where's your hotel? Why do you need to know?
None of your business, bro.
So I just hop in the Uber, and I'm like, go. So that was the most interesting Uber ride I had, because it was an Indian guy driving it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what brings you to Japan? I'm like, oh, just vacation. He's like, oh, that's nice. I've been stuck in Japan for 24 years.
Stuck.
He's been stuck in Japan for 24 years. I hope he isn't now. So
If you stuck for 24 years, and I'm pretty sure he's still there. And you said he was from where?
From Canada, but he was Indian.
He gets stuck for 24 years. I feel like after about a year's time.
So he had a crazy story. When he was 19, he moved to Japan to become a detective. Why? I don't know. I didn't ask. And he went through police training academy. And then when he had enough years under his belt, he was like, hey, I want to become a detective. And the Japanese police force were like, no, you have to become a Japanese citizen before you become a detective. And then he was like, okay, cool, I'll become a Japanese citizen. So he does it. And then he goes back to the police force, and he's like, okay, I'm a Japanese citizen. Can I become a detective now? And then they're like, oh, no, you gotta have a Japanese name. And, right away I'm like, oh, they're fucking with him.
Yeah, I'd have been like, how long, what is the time frame for you to become like a citizen in Japan?
I have no idea.
And I'm gonna look that up next, because after that, because I feel like it's at least 5 years or something like that. And after that point, I'd have been like, all right, cool. Like, tell me everything that I need to do in order to be a detective here, because if not, I'm just gonna go back to Canada. Go back to Canada.
And so he's like, why do I have to have a Japanese name? And they're like, we just want to make sure you are loyal and committed to Japan. So he goes and he gets his name changed to Ryu.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back to the police force and he's like, hey, my name is Ryu. I'm a Japanese citizen. Let me become a detective. And then the Japanese police force like, Ryu, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're not allowed to become a detective after age 26.
What?
I know!
So this man wasted like half his life. Not wasted his time, because he put in the work, but I would be not too happy about that. I have to look all of these things up, because all of this sounds unbelievable. You can't be a detective after the age of 26.
I'm sure they made that up just for him, but he was salty.
I would have been salty too. Stranded in, at this point now, not stranded, because he went through all of that.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, when that didn't work out, why didn't you just move back to Canada? He's like, that's the thing. He said because he gave up his Canadian citizenship, he can't just move back to Canada. There's like some kind of like legalities. And when he went to immigration, they said they need a letter from his workplace saying that, it's okay for him to reverse his citizenship.
That's dumb because dual citizenships like exist. So, man, he's sound like he's been going through quite a bit.
So when he went to the police force, they pretty much washed their hands with him. They were like, "Oh no, we don't want to have anything to do with you because we're afraid if we write anything, you're gonna try to sue us later for what we did."
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But he was like, "Okay, well, what if I write a letter promising that I won't sue you guys?" And they were like, we're done with you." And he just hasn't been able to go back to Canada.
I would have fought everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's asses would have got kicked.
I would have set the police station on fire.
Well, you know where Nola's priorities are. But she's never going back to Japan anyway, so.
Basically. But yeah, I thought that story was so crazy. And I was like, damn, Ryu. And like, I remember getting out of the Uber. I'm like, I hope you get to go back home one day.
Yeah, because Japan ain't it, bro.
Yeah, and he felt the same way I felt. He was like, Japanese people, they are rude, they are sexist, they are racist. And I'm like, I feel you. I see that right away here. And he hates it there.
Well, better go back to Canada. Pretty sure you can be detected there, where there's no groping hour. Well, got about an hour under our belt now.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Not about, we are at an hour.
Yeah. So I think I pretty much went over everything. I do want to just give like a few special tips if you're planning to go to Japan or if you have the desire to. Like, I would recommend going with like a tour guide company, which my friend who went with me did suggest that in the beginning. But I'm a very free-spirited person, and I don't really like adhering to a schedule, so that's why I passed up on it. But now I kind of regret that I didn't do it, because like, it's just better when you're in a very unfamiliar place like that to have someone guiding you, because I feel like I would have been able to see more and do more.
A little structure.
Yeah. So if you're planning on going, I would say get a tour guide if you can. And other tips that I have: buy your train pass early. Like, you need to buy it when you're still in America or wherever you are. Yeah, you can't buy the train pass in Japan. So you got to buy it at least 2 weeks before your trip, because they mail it here. Yeah, it's weird how I think it's because only foreigners are allowed to get a train pass. And I think it's to avoid like Japanese people getting it, because they're not allowed to use the train pass. It's only for tourists.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
sense. Which I highly recommend, because for me, I paid $500 for my train pass, but it was good for like 21 days, so it was helpful. So definitely do that, and get a Suica card, because you can use your Suica card at vending machines, at some restaurants, and then some of the trains you can't use the train pass because it's only because there's 3 major train lines in Japan.
Okay.
JR, I don't remember the other 2, but for the other 2 you're gonna have to swipe your Suica card for them. So just like the first things you do, like when you get to Japan, is like get your phone situated, get like a mobile Wi-Fi, get your train pass thing situated, and get a Suica card, and then you'll be kind of like good to go from there. And
any other tips for the people?
Study as much Japanese as you can.
Helps anywhere you're going.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, any country that you're going to, majority language, learn their language.
Exactly. Yeah. And bring your own medicine, because let me tell you, I had a headache at one point in Japan, and I went to get Tylenol. It was $8, $7 for an 8-pack of Tylenol.
What?
I know.
Everything is really expensive over there.
Very. So bring your own Tylenol, and bring your own Pepto-Bismol or whatever stomach medicine you use to alleviate, like, stomach pains, because you're not going to find it in Japan. They have this weird traditional Japanese medicine called Serogan, and it smells terrible. I can let you smell it. I still have it in my bag somewhere.
Yeah, we can do that soon. We'll see what it smells like.
But yeah, so anyway, for those of you who watch this video, like, if you have like any questions about Japan, you can, message me and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But I hope this is kind of like the dark side. So I hope this kind of like enlightens
No
you a
pun
little
intended.
bit. I hope this enlightens you a little bit and prepares you more for like what to expect when you go to Japan. And I just want to thank Brad for helping me make this video. And well, maybe we'll make another video in the future about another topic.
We will from when I go to Japan.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to hear your experience when you go. Hopefully it's better than mine.
I look forward to it. I'm gonna get the ladies' hour on the train extended if I can to at least 8 hours a day, so no men are allowed on the train.
That'd be really hard. 8 hours a day?
It's all right, 7.5.
Okay.
I'm just stopping from going to work.
Okay, that's a lofty goal.
It is, but I got ambition.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Good on you. Well, anyway, thanks guys for watching this video. Comment anything if you think of something to ask.
Yep, looking for us. My name is Brad B. God, like in most places. Yeah, that's about it. Nola, plug anything?
Follow him on Instagram, Brad Be Godlike. And if you live in Orlando and you're a black nerd, a blurred, find me on Facebook and join our group. We host events at least once a month.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, he's been to a couple.
I show up sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Goodbye, everybody. Arigato gozaimasu.